It's Wednesday and it's time for Twinfold. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on YouTube, you can catch us talking about the best resources, events, and influencers in EdTech. And this is your show, so sound off using the hashtag TwinfoldChat and let us know what you think. We can be reached on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FP Global. In today's surround sound, we are actually highlighting a search engine called Quotely. Quotely is a college course search engine where people can search over 3 million college courses that they can take online and transfer to their university. Our poll question today is, as we prepare our youth for the future, what is technology's role inside the classroom? We want to hear from you all, so sound off in the comments using hashtag TwinfoldChat. And we will share some of your comments in a few days. Today we have Claire Monju here.
Yes.
Joining us from MShula. She started a EdTech learning platform for primary school students to improve their performance. So thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
So I had the pleasure of meeting you at the Startup Spotlight event at South by Southwest EDU on Tuesday, right?
Yes, I think so.
So I want you to tell.
Days.
It's kind of compact.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us a little bit about who you are and why you started MShula.
Yeah, so what I say is my origin story is my mother is a speech pathologist and a special education teacher. I'm from upstate New York.
Oh.
So growing up, not only were my brother and I kind of her guinea pigs for all of her classroom techniques, but she always told us these really incredible stories of how, the combined efforts of teacher, the parent, the school, and the child could unlock new opportunities. Right. Especially, for special education students. So I was really inspired by that and thinking, this is great for upstate New York, but what about all of these students in emerging markets that are very, very under-resourced? So after I completed my undergrad, I went to India for a year and had a fellowship working with a low-cost private school in Hyderabad.
Oh.
And then after that year, came back to the U.S. for a bit, and then got a job in Kenya with Bridge International Academies.
Okay.
Of course, the chain of low-cost private schools. So I went from this experience on the ground with one school to now managing customer experience across 450 schools and 100,000 kids. And what I saw and what I heard from the communities was a lot of things that we face everywhere. Which is that parents in schools want their kids to succeed. They don't have the right tools to do it. And they're investing time, energy, money, resources into just opening up new opportunities. And sometimes it's working and sometimes it's not. And I think that a huge misconception, at least in East Africa, as I'm sure you guys also know very well, is that people think, people are just very poor. And when we should just go build more schools. Yeah. But what people don't really realize is that as low income as people may be, they're still investing, in Kenya, up to 11% of their income into primary education. Yeah. So, after working, with Bridge for a while, I said, I'm really interested in how to support these independent schools and the parents across Kenya and East Africa. And more importantly, connecting them with these innovations and making it possible for them to get the really high impacts of all of these technologies that are being developed, but in a really accessible way. So all that rambling story was to say that now I'm Shule, which means mobile school in Swahili. We're creating a personalized learning platform that uses artificial intelligence in the back end that provides SMS-based tutoring, so text message tutoring for students that's personalized to their needs that they can use on those old school Nokia phones that we first used. So
and
that's
you
what
don't
we're really trying to bring.
require Wi-Fi.
No,
Right, which is
exactly.
fantastic.
It's all just text message based because people have these super basic phones. They know how to use mobile money because, of course, M-Pesa has been the big innovation in Kenya, and they know how to text. So we said, let's just meet people where they are and then give them the technologies to grow towards a better future. And then as soon as the kids were learning and got on the platform, I mean, not only did we see, of course, in early stages where we saw that their exam scores were improving compared to non-users, but kids were also saying, this is something that's built my confidence. This is something that makes me feel like more willing to raise my hand in class. And they also said, this is kind of a safe space for me to make mistakes and get things wrong. Because, classroom environments, like there's corporal punishment and, they call you out if you get things wrong. So this was their area to improve their own relationship with themselves.
So you allow them a space to fail.
Exactly.
What about the teachers? What are their thoughts on this, tool helping their students?
Yeah, so the schools and the teachers have also been really receptive because not only are we doing this, one-on-one support for students, we're taking the data and the information we're getting on the students and providing it in reports to their parents and their schools through SMS or through we send WhatsApp reports, which is the way to go. Yeah. So on their side, they're really excited because, again, you know very well, schools and parents don't know how kids are doing until they actually take the test and it's too late.
Yeah.
So now, they're saying this is an external program that gives us an insight, and helps us understand where each of my kids are in the class, and then at the principal level, where the subjects that maybe they're struggling in compared to others. So for a lot of teachers, especially, many of them aren't trained, but even if they are trained, of course, you have so many kids in class and it's really a struggle to keep up with the curriculum. So they said, okay, this is a tool that I can use to better differentiate instruction and better support the kids in my classroom.
Well, thanks for being with us, and I would
thank you.
love for our viewers to be able to find your company and be able to reach you. So let us know, how can we reach you via Instagram, Twitter? What's your handle?
Yeah, so our website is mshule.com, so just m-shule.com. And then our handles for everything are our mshule, OURMSHULE. So yeah, please like us, follow us, reach out, and we love to learn and share with companies all over the world.
Hi, you all. We are here today with Elliot Hedman, and he is the lead researcher at a consulting firm that really works with companies on how to communicate and reach children. So, hi, Elliot. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. As I mentioned, you are with a consulting firm called Empath. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and how you got started?
Oh man, how did I get started? Well, so I got my PhD at the MIT Media Lab, where I helped build a sensor that can measure the subconscious emotional reactions of kids and adults. And the question was, what do we do with this? I started my work looking at the emotional experiences of kids with autism. And I was actually able to show, look, this is when kids are getting anxious during therapy. But I had this kind of design goal. I was like, I want to build something. I'm an engineer by trade. I want to make things. So I worked at Google X. I worked at IDEO. Got my PhD, and then I just couldn't find any place where empathy was that real center part of everything they were doing. So I started my own consulting company.
Oh, fascinating.
That's great.
Well, you had a presentation on gamification and how we are doing it all wrong. Can you tell us a little bit about how we all are doing it wrong? And the reason why I'm asking is because I have a nephew. He loves online games, right? And he seeks and searches for online games that can teach him something new.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So
That's
he's
great.
really, really big on that. So how are we doing it wrong?
Yeah.
And what can we do to better ourselves when we're approaching this type of...
And I wasn't ready for that. When
Okay.
I initially started my research, I've been working at the Boys and Girls Club for 3 years now, looking at what is that emotional experience those kids want with technology. And so I went to the kids' houses. I watched them play Pokemon Go and Minecraft and
Yeah,
a lot of Madden football. And we
Yeah.
just watched those experiences unfold. And I interviewed them all, and I had them tell me their stories about what they wanted out of a game. From this conversation, it's going to start sounding like we need to make games more fun in education. And that's where I see a lot of the companies I talk to are saying, And that's where I was ready to go to. Is like, hey, if they like Minecraft, give them Minecraft. Yeah. But what was funny is that we were starting to work in some Title I schools at Hartford, and the kids started all asking the same question, which was a really weird question. They said, I wish there was more learning in my games. And this is weird. This is coming from kids 2 to 3 grade levels below, hate school. And they're like, there needs to be more learning in this. And this was a constant thing. All the kids were asking for more learning.
Okay.
And we delved into this, and we built some prototypes, and we tried things out. And the more we worked on it, the more I realized that actually the most exciting part for a lot of kids is when they get that feeling of learning.
Yeah.
But video games don't really do that naturally. There are some in those games that have become very popular, but it's usually much more about, we'll hide the learning and no one will know they're learning. And so it ends up being the case is actually kids very much want to feel the learning, and we're not delivering. The feeling of learning is the most engaging thing you'll ever see with your program.
You mentioned it in your presentation, disengagement increases with age, right? People tend to tune out as they get older. They're like, oh, I don't need that. I don't want that. How do we keep people engaged as they get older?
I know. It's probably, if I were to get that $1 million grant today, this would be the question I'd ask. And it's a dark question. It's the question I don't even put in my presentation, because at least from my research, what I'm seeing is that if you look at a kindergartner, they are in love with learning. Their entire life, like, ooh, look, I can do this. Ooh, tell me more about this. Why'd that happen? They're just the curious bubble. And then you watch as it goes across the spectrum into elementary school, where you see it a little bit, but it starts drifting off. Those 8th grade kids I'm interviewing, they'll put up the screen for the learning software, and they'll never push the next button. They won't even do anything at all. And they'll actually just sit here like this the whole time. And I was like, what did we do? What is the difference between this kindergartner and this 8th grade? Because I want to believe, and I'm not going to stop believing until I'm proven wrong, that we're all kindergartners, that we're all these curious bubbles that want to learn. And I think there are things in our system right now that are teaching kids, stop seeking that learning. Learning is bad. Learning creates failure. And I think they get that message enough that they get these defensive mechanisms up.
In your studies, you mentioned a reward system attached to education. And serving as an incentive, right, for kids to continue to not only get educated, but to continue to learn. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So just a background. Saying reward systems in education is like the academic, like you're not allowed to say that, actually. There's a big push in academia that says very much kids need to be internally motivated. They need to be like, you know what, I'm going to learn about double addition today. And then they just actively learn it. For a kid who's 2 grade levels below in 3rd grade and is struggling at doing math, it's really hard for them to self-reflect on that feeling of learning, that feeling of improvement, right? Like, it's hard for them to say, oh, I get it now, or I can do math. And what we found is these little dotted coins or little things that really don't have to have much substance at all. They're markers for that learning. So, oh, okay, now that I got that coin, that means I can do this. And because I can do this, I feel smart. But if you take out that coin, it's really hard for kids to understand that they're learning and forming goals. Because a kid won't say, you know what, I'm going to read this so I feel like I'm better at reading. But they will say, I'm going to read this because I need to get those 6 coins. And those 6 coins mean I'm smart. So you just have to give a framework for the kids so they can understand what's going on.
Well, thank you for being here with us. And for you all, we want to hear your feedback. We think that Elliot has provided so much great insight in what he's doing. So please, please, please contact us at FPG Global, and that's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and use the hashtag TwinFoldChat. Thanks.